And we're live. It is Thursday, December 23rd, 2021, Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
As they say. Yeah, it is.
It's penultimate eve.
It is. It is the penultimate eve. 5:01 p.m. We're a minute late today because Jordan and Kate decided to have a conversation about grades.
Great. Yes. Grading habits or
We got an
grading norms.
It is
got
an
an extension.
emu shirt day. I would like to point out that this is not the first time that a large bird has been on the shirt. We have had shoebill days, at least one shoebill day in the past, but this is the first time that a large Australian bird has been on the shirt. Jordan has thoughts on that. So, Jordan, before we get into today's show, do you have emu thoughts?
Oh, I was just telling the folks earlier about how I saw an emu just 2 days ago at the Philadelphia Zoo. I'm a little worried I'm disqualified, you guys, because I actually have been having fun. I'm in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is great. I was in the Philadelphia Art Museum today to see the Jasper Johns exhibit.
Cool.
Am I still allowed to be on the show if I had fun today?
Yeah.
You're just really not supposed to admit the
Just
having
don't
fun
talk
part.
about it too openly, which you
Yeah.
kind of like,
I mean, it's like going on Dancing with the Stars and admitting that you're a washed-up has-been who was never that much of a star to begin with.
No, it's not.
You're right. It's actually nothing like that.
that.
We are not allowed to have fun anymore.
Checks
But
out.
in lieu of
No, that's
fun,
not what it is.
we are allowed to play Where's the Lie with Jordan Ellenberg. And I want to say that Jordan and I have known each other for so long.
Oh, God.
That-
How are you going to play this game, Jordan?
So it's actually, Jordan
I'm
is...
on difficulty level alpha here. This is serious.
Yes. We've known each other so long that I put out on Facebook a call to all of Jordan's high school friends and college friends
Oh, good.
to show up and interrogate him today. I even texted a couple.
Oh, dear.
And so we are going to give precedence in this game to people who actually can maximally harass Jordan. I get to do that because it's our show.
I was not briefed. That this was happening, by the way.
No, so for example, my mom is in the audience today. If you have questions for Jordan, just let us know.
Wouldn't that
Pearl,
be crazy?
Cy,
if it turns out
Reneker,
that
if you're there and
it's
you have
both your mom?
questions. Well, Jordan's mom is somewhere in the house that he's in. But Pearl, if you're around and you want to interrogate Jordan about the story that he's going to tell, so we are not allowed to have fun anymore, but Jordan is really not allowed to have fun anymore. And he's going to tell us a story. I have no idea what it's about. But let me remind you all of the rules. Number one, you can vote at any time starting now on whether Jordan is lying. And I will point out that 62% of respondents already have asserted that Jordan is lying. You are allowed to change your vote at any time. You are also allowed to flag your availability in the Ask a Question box to be one of Jordan's interrogators. And if you flag your availability, I will bring you on, and then you will be able to, like Kate and me, ask Jordan 3 questions to test the veracity of his story. You are also entitled to discuss the veracity of the story in the chat. There is one thing you are absolutely not allowed to do. You are not allowed to Google anything that Jordan says. You are not allowed to check any factual statement he
Can we
makes.
use a calculator?
You can use a calculator. Against any external reference source other than a calculator, you're not allowed to use DuckDuckGo at Drew Rickett. You can't fool me. You can't check him in real time because we live in a world in which we can't survive real-time fact-checking, especially when we're lying. And the whole point of this game is to see if you can figure out, not whether Google can figure out whether Jordan's lying. So with that, Jordan Ellenberg, the floor is yours. We're going to play Where's the Lie?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to What's the Lie? And yes, because I've known Ben so long, this is a challenge because like so many of my stories, Ben already knows them and he would know they're true. So I had to like really work to think of one that I thought he might not know. And this one, I think he does not. But we'll see. We'll see.
But didn't you just admit that it was true? Because if it were a lie, I wouldn't know it.
Ben, shush.
Well, we'll see.
All right.
I mean, wouldn't I say that also if it were a lie? Wouldn't I say the same thing?
I would
Yeah,
hope so.
he's allowed to. You're also allowed to lie in questions, in responding to questions, by the way. Just so you know, Jordan, you don't have to tell us the truth in the questions.
Well, let me start with something that I think Ben knows is true, which is that I am good at taking tests. And I actually
True fact.
and I actually have always been good at taking tests. So where this story starts is that I was part of a program. There's so many tendrils to the story that we could follow. A program called the Search for Mathematically Precocious Youth. They'd probably call it something different today, but that's what it was called back then. And so I took the SAT when I was a small child, like 12 or 13 or something like this, and getting a high score. They were looking for people who could get a high score in a standardized test when they were young. And having done that, I was invited to a very strange event by a very strange organization called the American Academy of Achievement.
I thought you were going to say the CIA.
No. Well, who knows who they are? Who knows
I know.
I don't actually know. And to this day, I don't really know what the American Academy of Achievement is, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. And I'm going to tell you about this event that I was invited to, which was called the Banquet of the Golden Plate. And it was a celebration of achievement, the very concept of achievement. And this is, so I'm a teenager. Maybe this is like 1984 or 1985. I felt, in the spirit of what you said, Ben, I also didn't look stuff up. So I'm doing this from memory.
Good. Yeah.
But I would guess it must have been 1984 or 1985. And it was this incredible...
So in 84, just to be, so that people know, you would have been like 12.
Yeah, depending on when in the year it was, because I would have turned 13 that year. And I don't even remember when in the year this took place, to be honest.
Okay. But you'd like be somewhere 12 or 13.
I'm an early teen. Yeah. Let's say that. So somehow this is, this is this bizarre event where everyone who's there, so there's some kids there. I hope Pearl wasn't there. Okay, well, anyway, I'm just, Pearl is also good at taking tests. Okay, anyway.
Wait,
so,
Pearl's your mom?
No, Pearl is somebody who may or may not be in the audience. Pearl, if you're in the audience, say something in the chat so we can identify you.
Okay, listen.
Pearl is here.
So everyone's here. It was probably the first time I ever wore a tuxedo. Actually, everyone is like very dressed up at this big banquet, and somehow it's this weird mix of like kids who did well on the SAT at a young age and older kids, like high school seniors who had done some kind of monumental public service or like saved a whale or cured cancer or whatever it is that they did.
And then just like weirdos who were 13 and owned a tuxedo.
The present company excluded. Okay, but I rented a tuxedo. Okay, and then actual like adult famous people how they were sort of brought in to this banquet to receive their golden plate. I do not know. I don't know how they were selected, and I don't know how they were convinced. But what I remember, and there was probably lots of people there I've forgotten, but the two people I remember who were there, because they were the two people who I cared about and admired at that age, were Jimmy Carter and Brooks Robinson. They were both there. So this gives you some sense. And then there was like a lot of business people. Oh, you know who was there? LaFrac. the guy who built like LaFrac City, like a sort of real estate developer in New York. My dad explained to me who he was. I didn't know who that was. Brooks Robinson, I was excited about, the great Oriole third baseman.
So wait, I can real time check some of this.
Wait, you're allowed to?
Oh yeah,
Ben, don't. You can't.
No. I'm just saying there's some definite.
What the rules are for this thing.
No. I am not an external reference. I just want to say, Jordan is a longtime Orioles fan and would have been excited by the presence of Brooks Robinson.
Yes. And I was, and Jimmy Carter was there, former president. You guys know that, right? So, and actually, my dad was very excited for me to meet and shake hands with Jimmy Carter, which you were not supposed to do. You were definitely not supposed to bother Jimmy Carter. That was very
because of COVID. No, sorry.
No,
I'm like really failing on these zingers. Yeah. Sorry. So you said meet and shake hands, and I was like, okay, never mind. Go ahead, Jordan.
But so my dad somehow, my dad scoped out the entire banquet hall, identified sort of where the Secret Service was located, and figured out what table Jimmy Carter was going to be at, so that he could sort of seat us like sort of directly adjoining table at the nearest table to this thing, to where Carter was going to be sitting. And then, when the dinner was going on, and what you're definitely not supposed to do is turn around and tap Jimmy Carter on the shoulder like when you're eating dinner at this banquet. And if Ben were not
with your steak knife,
if Ben's not an old friend of mine and not a friend of our family, Ben might not know that my father was alive, and then this would be a story about how my father was shot by the Secret Service.
Jonas Ellenberg is alive, and I would know if he had ever been arrested by the Secret Service for harassing Jimmy Carter.
So in fact, he tapped Jimmy Carter on the shoulder, and Jimmy Carter was perfectly nice about it and like shook my hand, and my dad took a picture, which we still have. But that's not actually the story, by the way. This is the run up to the story. I'm giving you the background to the story. So, so the story is that everybody at this banquet had a sponsor, some donor to the American Academy of Achievement. Why would you donate to the American? I don't know. Anyway, but somehow some donor to the American Academy of Achievement, whatever it is. There it was sort of, they were your personal sponsor, right? They were like, this guy's money is going to fly you to Minneapolis. I forgot to say Minneapolis is where this was, to fly you to Minneapolis, and you get this banquet and get to shake hands with Brooke Robinson or whatever it may be. And then you had a little meeting with this guy, and my sponsor was Ivan Boesky. Now I don't know if everybody remembers who Ivan Boesky was, and it's actually, maybe it's a little better if you don't remember.
Isn't it pronounced Boesky?
I was actually wondering that, and I didn't look it up because I was like,
okay,
I
so
remember.
We're gonna go with Boesky. Yeah, well, just like however you remember it.
Okay, because I was truly trying to not look stuff up in order to sort of maintain that I'm just telling the story the way I tell it.
Good.
So everybody, all the kids, each one has a meeting, with their sponsor, a one-on-one meeting, so they can, get a look at the merchandise or whatever, like see what it is that they paid, what weirdo they paid for a plane ticket for. And this meeting was it was not what I expected. I mean, what I expected. He was sort of some, like, to me, he seemed old. He was probably in his 40s or whatever, but sort of some, business guy in a suit. But the meeting, he kind of knew I was really into math, and he had all these he had questions. I almost was a little bit like, didn't I already win this prize? Is this still a test? Because he was like, well, I hear you're really good at math. So like, if you, and the questions, now this would be better if I really had a detailed memory of the exact nature of the questions, but they were sort of about, an investment, and you sort of like cut it into little pieces and you sort of move it around, and like this percentage of it goes here and this here, and then you sort of iterate a process. And
no, that's called securities fraud. Sorry.
Well, the whole thing, you're getting ahead of the story. So the whole thing, I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, as I said, I already took my SAT. Like, what am I being tested here? I didn't quite know what to think, but he was perfectly friendly. And I sort of stammered through whatever I had to say. I didn't know anything about money or finance. I knew a lot about calculus or what have you. And then, we ate, this was in the afternoon. Then we ate our dinner. I stood up. I said, thank you to Mr. Boski, especially for, sponsoring me here. Anyway, shortly thereafter, he was in federal prison. I don't remember how much longer after. It was the big insider trading case of the 80s.
I was joking. Wow, that was like, I
Because
had
you
no
didn't remember who
idea.
he was or never knew. So this was the guy who had sponsored me. And I have wondered ever since. So I don't even know if at that time he already knew he was under investigation. I'm sure he was already doing whatever he was doing. Whether he knew that he was, that the federal people were on his trail, or the SEC or whoever it is prosecutes that, I don't know. And I have always wondered, was he like desperately trying to figure out a way to get, he was like, this is my last chance. Maybe this 13-year-old math kid can sort of like assess my plan for like hiding my trail. I mean, again, it's a little bit of an elaboration from very limited information. But obviously I'll never know. I did not have any contact with Mr. Boski after his conviction. So I will never know. And I'll end this story, Ben, with a legal question. If I had inadvertently provided someone with an insider trading money laundering plan, would I be an accessory, or would I be completely off the hook?
No, you'd be off the hook.
I've been worried about this for 30 years.
Yeah, well, the statute of limitations would have run separately. But first of all, I also don't think a 13-year-old can be prosecuted for securities fraud, it not being part of the juvenile criminal code in most states.
I don't know.
I feel like that would be one of the easiest felonies for a 13-year-old to commit, don't you?
I feel like it could anything is possible these days.
So
anyway, that's my story. By the way, I've got no more. That's my story.
No. This is perfect. And now Kate and I each get get our first question. Now, if you are somebody who knew Jordan in this period and can therefore be particularly acute in your questioning, flag yourself in the ask a question. I am bringing on Pearl without her. She can click no if she wants to the invitation. Kate, you get the first question.
So the first question is on your golden plate, because I'm assuming you can't actually have. I mean, you were all eating on golden plates or something, right? But what did you have? What was your? Do you remember?
You didn't eat on the plate. The plate was like it was like a plate. It was a ceremonial plate affixed to like a plaque. Like this,
I know, but what did you have for dinner is the question.
Oh, so that's a good question, because that is honestly usually the kind of thing I remember, because I'm very food centric, but I truly do not. I'm gonna guess it was chicken. Like wasn't every 80s banquet like chicken with sort of some kind of like little array of like string beans and carrots or something? Hi, Pearl. But I truly do not know the answer to that question. It's Pearl.
It is Pearl. And we're going to bring Pearl back in a moment when it's Pearl's turn to ask a question. Here's my question, Jordan. Did you have any sense of who Ivan Boski was? Or was he just like, was it later something that became clear to you that, oh my God, I was sponsored at the achievement dinner by the insider trading king?
No, it was later. I knew he was like a business guy, but I think at that age, that would have been as fine-grained an idea I had of like who he was. Like, I think somebody in the chat, I'm trying not to look at the chat too much, but I saw somebody said like junk bond king. I'm sure I would not have known what a junk bond was at that time.
So it was like a kind of like shock to you later when it turned out that that you were sponsored by like Don Corleone.
Right.
All right, Kate, your second.
Got me a handshake with Don Corleone if he had actually been there. So he would have tried for sure.
Kate, your second question, or should we go to
Did you
Pearl's
ever
question?
go to this event again?
No. And to be honest, I don't even know if it's still happening. I mean, I think the program where young kids take the SAT still exists, I think, but I don't know if it gets you a bid to this banquet. Kate's briefly
I'm sorry.
gone. Though.
I hit a button on my mouse. It took me out of the room. I don't know what happened. Anyway, what did you say to answer my question? You never got any note if it's still a thing. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So certainly I never went back to this thing.
All right, so we are now accepting audience bids who are not who don't know Jordan well enough to interrogate him. So flag for me if you want to grill him on the Ivan Boesky Award story in the Ask a Question box. We're going to go to the audience grilling shortly. All right, I have another question about this. Like, what was your reaction when you learned that Ivan Boesky was a crook? Were you principally amused, or did you worry that like maybe you were talent washing the Boesky? What was your 12-year-old reaction to this?
Well, first of all, I think I was I mean, I definitely, remembered that conversation and was like, wait, what was that? But I think the way my reasoning, if I can reconstruct it at the time, was like, well, he got caught. So if I had inadvertently been trying to help him money launder, it obviously wasn't successful. So that's good, right? I mean,
but you thought about like, was there, would you have criminal exposure as a 13-year-old?
I did. I mean, I didn't know that, but I didn't know until you just told me that 13-year-olds can't get prosecuted for securities fraud. So
I really like the idea. It rings true to me that you would be worried about that to this very day. But also because of that, it makes me think that you would have brought it up to Ben far before this. If you had woken up at 2:30 in the morning being like, did I turn the gas off in the stove? Are they coming for me?
Well, I don't want to make it sound like it was chief worry. I worry about a lot of stuff.
Okay. I am going to reserve my question. I want to meet Pearl.
All right. So Pearl Cy Reneker,
I'm gonna minimize myself.
Old high school friend of Jordan's and mine, architect extraordinaire in Palo Alto, California, and all around excellent person. What's your take on this story? Do you have questions for Jordan?
I don't know. I think he's full of shit.
All right, grill him on this.
I mean, we know Pearl thinks this in general.
You don't even need to ask questions to know that this story is full of shit.
Oh my god, this is not what I was. Sorry, I had to come back. This is not what I was expecting. I was trying to give you guys your moment to reminisce and for her to ask. But I was like, this sure does have the ring of truth to it, with him not being able to remember things. And
wait a minute, we're not in the evaluation stage
okay,
yet. Pearl,
sorry.
you get 3 questions.
Pearl, please tell us why Jordan is full of shit. Unless he's paying you to be here and tell us and throw off the game. Am I allowed to ask Pearl questions? Pearl, are you getting paid to be here?
To be clear, I recruited Pearl to come here and harass Jordan. I texted her about 15 minutes before the show. Jordan may also have recruited her, but
wait, are you being paid to be here, Ben? Did Jordan pay you off?
As you know, Kate Klonick, I am not being paid to do a little of fun.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Pearl, your questions.
So what was Ivan wearing during your meeting with him?
Oh, I mean, honestly, at that age, I feel like I would have said, So my initial reaction was to say like a suit because he was like a business guy wearing a suit. But now I stopped myself because I'm like, okay, I know that the banquet was black tie. I know I was wearing a tuxedo. This was like before. It was like in the afternoon. So I honestly cannot say for sure because he could have been wearing a tuxedo because we were going to be at that thing, or it could have been earlier in the day and he wasn't. And I honestly don't remember. I'm allowed to say I don't remember if I don't remember, right?
Sure.
Okay.
You're allowed
You're
to say
also allowed to
whatever you
make up
want.
facts in order to persuade Pearl. Your second question, Pearl.
What do they serve for this dinner?
Somebody
I
already asked that.
though. I already
Okay,
asked
sorry.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed that.
He
So-
couldn't
and
remember.
again, I'm like, see, I do feel like by choosing
Don't waste
something
your
that happened a really
question, though.
long time ago, it's not as it's harder because there's certain fine details that.
Mhm.
So my guess was chicken, Pearl, but I do not honestly know.
Pearl, ask why you weren't invited.
So that is not
I
that is
went
not
to this dinner too.
I'm sorry?
I went to this dinner too.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to
That's
say
what I thought.
all right,
Sorry.
so Pearl has inside information here, which is appropriate given Boski's history. So why, given that you were at the
Who was
dinner,
your sponsor, Pearl?
yeah,
You remember.
why are you skeptical of this story?
I don't actually. I've been following this podcast, so I don't really understand the premise. I mean, I thought the premise is Jordan's supposed to be making up some sort of lie about it.
No, he's supposed to be telling a story, and we're supposed to figure out whether the story is true or not.
Oh, okay. But there's no like intentional lie element to it. I wasn't.
Oh, no, he
Well,
could
the
be-
story
no,
can
he
be
could-
partly true or
Yeah.
fully true or total bullshit. So
Or-
you
Okay.
were at this dinner too. That actually validates some of the premise of Jordan. So do you disbelieve that he was sponsored by Ivan Boski?
I'm not sure. I mean, that would be my guess if he was fabricating some element of this. That his sponsor was actually somebody, much more boring, like say the founder of Haagen-Dazs.
Who was your sponsor?
I bet it was
Wait, the founder of Haagen-Dazs was there. I remember this. Okay, I had totally forgotten this, but the guy gave this. Didn't he give like a speech or something? There was some speech about how he was like Haagen-Dazs doesn't mean anything, and he was so proud about the fact.
Wait, that was the one thing I learned at this dinner was that like Haagen-Dazs
Know the
wasn't
world.
somebody. There was a guy named Hagen and a guy named Daz, but like it was like a completely made up name, and that was
Oh my
designed
God, I
to
had
inspire
totally
high quality.
forgotten this part about.
I want to
Haagen-Dazs.
say that the audience is evenly split now on whether Jordan is lying. But I would like to point out that Pearl, while she contends that Jordan is full of shit, actually is verifying a key element, which is that this dinner.
Said whether she was there, if she remembers him being there. Wouldn't
Yeah, do you
if
remember
had
Ivan Boski
traveled all the
being
way
there?
to Minnesota together? Like, wouldn't you remember being there?
My memory is a lot worse than Jordan's. Sorry, I can't remember.
You can't remember whether Ivan Boski was there?
No,
Do you
sorry.
remember who your sponsor was?
No.
Okay. Any other questions for Jordan?
That's it.
All right. Bye, Pearl.
Bye, Pearl.
Um,
I like Pearl. We should
All
have
right,
Pearl on.
I'm
Yeah,
pro
me too.
Pearl in all ways. All right, Pauline, you have a question for Jordan.
Hi.
It's been a minute. Merry Christmas.
What if everybody who was at this banquet is in the
Okay.
audience now? They're all like the alumni network is buzzing with, you got to get on this podcast right now. They're talking about the banquet of the Golden Plate.
All right. So I think we've narrowed the question to, since we've verified with an eyewitness that the banquet of the Golden Plate took place. we've actually identified someone else there. We're really down to the question of whether Ivan Boski was or was not Jordan's sponsor. Do you have questions that pertain to that, Pauline?
No, but I still have a question that's
Excellent.
relevant.
Go for it.
Okay. We still don't know for sure that Jordan was at that dinner. I'm still not entirely convinced that Pearl isn't full of shit too. So,
I fucking
my-
love you, Pauline. It's been too long.
okay. Someone mentioned earlier that Jordan was at his parents' house right now. Okay, so if such a plate existed, guaranteed his parents still have it, so I would like to see the plate.
Ooh, Pauline, that's pretty great. Can you, Jordan Ellenberg, produce
Produce
the
the
golden
fucking
plate?
Is
Yeah.
that a legit question?
It is.
Okay, talk about emus for like about 2 minutes. Let me see.
All
what I
right,
can do.
Hey,
we're talking about emus over here.
I wanted to
Jordan
say-
is gonna go
we
get the
haven't
golden
even-
plate.
We haven't even told Jordan yet that yesterday you were wearing a guinea pig shirt, which is in fact a rodent. And soon, I think, the next step as the largest rodent on the planet, Jordan has to be on one of your t-shirts.
Well, Jordan is actually, as we have discussed on this show, the world's largest rodent. The second largest rodent is the capybara.
I know, but you
Um,
need it. So I know. So we'll get you a capybara shirt. Then we'll get you a Jordan Ellenberg shirt. And then you can just like,
I
right?
also want to give a moment's appreciation here to Frank Valadiz in the audience, who just shared habeas plateus in the chat, and here is the golden
oh my
plate.
God!
Whoa, he has produced the golden plate.
American Academy of
Now
Achievement. Oh,
we're gonna
Jordan,
see.
it says the name of
Oh,
it right
the
there.
poll is shifting hard right now.
The Golden
So-
Eagle Award 2030. Oh, that's the day after. You know, I was born the day before you were at this, on July 6th, 1984.
Yeah.
And
As
that's
wa-
Pauline.
as
Isn't your
was my
son born that day?
My younger son Robert was born that day.
Okay, so Pauline, are you convinced now that you're?
That's why you didn't remember. You'd fucking remember if you were there
I mean,
in the winter.
I think Jordan's produced some serious evidence that
Yeah,
he's got a
I mean-
witness, he's got an eyewitness present at the dinner, and he's produced the golden plate.
That's awesome, actually. Yeah.
He just hasn't produced Ivan Boski's
Yeah.
confession.
For what
I
what
want
it's
to know
worth-
if your parents have a whole wall of like things like that somewhere in your house. Like,
I
It's
was getting ready.
This was in a closet. It's mostly put away.
okay.
I was waiting for the excuse why he couldn't produce the plate, then I was going to figure out whether that was full of shit, but oh well.
All right, Pauline, you've asked the critical question. You've shed light on, big
Damn.
light on the, but there's still the question of, oh, somebody else has popped up on screen. It's Mateo, who always shows up like after I've given up that he can make it. Mateo, do you have questions for Jordan?
And you're not outdoors, and you're not well. You might be outdoors. I can't tell. Are you walking somewhere?
I'm indoors for
Okay.
the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a couple questions. I'm curious, is this Boski guy the only financial criminal you've ever met?
Ooh.
Interesting question. Let's see.
And by financial criminal, I mean, presumably Jordan has met dozens of people who were unindicted financial criminals, as have we all, right?
Oh, you know,
What?
I was going to ask you this.
Why? What? Why have we all?
Am I allowed
Because
to produce?
people commit financial crimes
unsolicited
all the
evidence,
time
by the
and
way?
don't get caught. So I think you mean anyone who has been indicted and convicted of financial crimes, right?
Just
I mean,
indicted.
you've probably met financial criminals walking down the street. I'm just trying to narrow the terms of
I
Sure.
guess I think the answer is no. I'm trying to think of even who were the high-profile financial criminals, but I don't. I like to think I'm still a young captain of achievement in my way, but I'm not usually at banquets where these top guys would be.
There's no
anymore.
picture in your parents' house of you like hugging Bernie Madoff or anything. Nothing like that.
No.
Okay.
I have not met Bernie Madoff is a good example of someone I have not met. Oh, these are good names, but I haven't met Michael Milken.
I don't know who Michael Milken is.
the
I've
junk
met Jim
bond
Slennon,
king.
but he's legit, as far as I know.
Okay.
All right, so
As
All right.
discussed, I was
So why-
0 years old when like, or 1 day old when Jordan was winning his Golden Plate award. So like, I want like,
so Mateo, does that give you confidence one way or the other?
Not
that Jordan hasn't
really. I mean,
hobnobbed with other financial criminals, to his knowledge?
I
No,
feel like
After
Mateo's
after
really,
always-
Boski,
yeah.
why would they? I mean, I'm obviously no good.
All right, then I'm not really sure I
I
understand the
don't
point
know.
of the question. Do you have another question?
What- I do. I'm curious how you found out about what became of your sponsor.
It was a big news story. It was like when it was like a huge news story when I don't remember the exact date, but like in the 80s when he went down, it was like.
And did your dad like wake you up one morning and like hold the newspaper up and was he like,
Oh, like the
This-
John Mulaney story?
"Don't let this be you, Jordan"?
Actually, I don't remember if my dad flagged it for me or if I saw it. I mean, I was never a kid who read the business section of the paper, but I think that was like front page news section, not just business section. It was, I think his name was on everybody's lips.
All right,
And-
Itamar Levior.
Wait, no. I want Mateo. I thought Mateo had one more question.
Oh, Mateo
I
gets
do have
one more
one more.
question?
Yeah. Do you
Mateo
remember?
also often seems so like in disbelief that he exists on this show, and
That's
I was just like, what am I doing here? Why are you bothering me? You're like a 14-year-old boy or something that like you're like, why am I like, don't talk to me? But like,
Jeez.
you're
That's 2 years advanced from the standard estimate. I'll take it. Anyway, my last question is, do you remember any of the other sponsors at the event?
I don't, although, I will say this. Pearl reminding me that whoever founded Haagen-Dazs was there makes me think that he must have been one of the sponsors. I do not remember that person's name, but I had forgotten for 35 years or whatever that person was there talking about Haagen-Dazs. And like, why would they have been talking? They must have given enough money to the American Academy of Achievement to. So that's a guess. I'm guessing one more, but I truly could not name any others.
All right, Itamar. It's all you. You get the last
Jordan,
3 questions.
I have the last 3. Okay, so how are you paired with Ivan?
So I
He was
do not know.
voted in his high school class most likely to sell junk bonds.
Ben and I went to a high school where that could plausibly have been a high school superlative, to be fair. I'm not sure if it was, but so I don't know how that was done. Like, I was not given a menu of rich people to choose from, and I don't know if the rich people were given a menu of young captains to choose from. I just don't know. Sorry.
I really wanted to grill more about this. I don't have too much more. So someone just decided you get Ivan, someone else gets Haagen-Dazs, and you're probably disappointed because you didn't get any ice cream to go with your.
Well,
plate.
he was certainly somebody I had never heard of at the time. I mean, at the time I was invited to do it, if some rich guy was not like a name to me, I probably would have been more. I certainly would have been more excited for Brooks Robinson. He may not have had the money.
He got
to sponsor.
unmarked bills under the table though.
Wait, so what?
Than ice cream, let's be honest.
So what was Ivan? What was your relationship with him beyond like here? This person's your sponsor. You shake his hand, something at the event, or like.
Ben, you can confirm that the answer to this question is not legally actionable, correct?
Correct. The statutes of limitations
Okay.
for all juvenile offenses in the state of Maryland or in the federal system for being an accessory to junk bond trading have run insider trading. Sorry. Milken was the junk
I
bond
think
guy.
the total of it was we didn't have any contact before the event itself. So the total contact was, we had that meeting, and then, he was at the banquet, and then I must have written him a thank you note or something. And no, I'm certain that my dad cannot produce a copy of that.
All right.
God.
Kate, do you have any more questions?
Well, now it's like there's no questions about like whether he was there and that like he went or like anything like or that this thing
we're
was like
just
a real thing.
negotiating over Boski now.
Yeah. And I don't even know who this person is. And so I guess
Well, if you
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
I'm really dating myself because I thought that would still be a name people knew. So I wonder what the age threshold is for
You
knowing
should
who
be
Ivan
really
Boesky is.
happy that people like that don't have a legacy anymore.
It
That
was a
like
super-
time
it was a
doesn't
super-
remember
No,
them.
no,
Wasn't it the
Okay.
movie Wall Street? Wasn't the movie Wall Street the Kirk Douglas character modeled on Ivan Boesky?
Oh, I didn't know that. Is
Am
that
I
true?
didn't
am
know
I
that either.
fantasizing that?
Kirk
I
Douglas? Michael
authorize
Douglas.
somebody to Google that question.
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas,
Okay.
yeah, was in a movie called Wall Street, which was a
Mateo,
famous,
shut the fuck up, Mateo.
which was a famous movie about Wall Street raiders, and I think the Michael Douglas character, who's I forget he had some
Gordon
famous name.
Gekko.
Gordon Gekko, right, was modeled on Ivan Boesky, I believe.
Does he try to weasel his way out of a conviction utilizing a junior high school math team consider, or was that cut?
No, I don't think he did, but it's only because he didn't think of it.
It wasn't.
All
Boesky.
right. We're going to do the big reveal now. So, first of all, folks, this is your last chance. Jordan has persuaded a lot of people, but this is for those who haven't voted yet or who want to change your vote. This is your last chance to change your vote. Once again, I remind you that if you change your vote after we reveal the answer, you don't get points for getting the right answer after it's been announced. All right, so Itamar, your verdict.
Oh, I buy this.
You buy
but
this?
I also think I think people always just tell the truth, right? Like you need to be pretty sus to not be telling the truth, right?
But we've had some pretty bald lies on Where's the Lie.
Yeah, I don't know that he's been watching the show that long. There's we had Tom Nichols come on and fucking tell us that he had what did he do?
High-fived Bob. Tried to high-five Bob Dole.
You said Bob Dole. For the love of God, Ben.
We had Jonathan Rausch tell us the
that
story
he had
of
gone to lose his virginity to he's a gay
his
male.
heterosexual
His
virginity
heterosexual virginity
to get the
and his
Atlantic to pay for the prostitute. I mean,
and a lot of us believed him.
yeah, that was really persuasive.
Oh, the Atlantic. I mean,
No, and he had the whole details of his meetings with the Atlantic.
Was Dwayne's story real?
No, Dwayne's story was all true.
Yeah,
Nobody believed it. Nobody believed a word of it, but it was all true. And Shane Harris's story about getting recruited by the FBI after an interview on cybersecurity.
Wait, was that false?
That was all false.
Oh,
but he
that's
sold
right.
me on it. I mean,
I know. And I got that one right, I think, because I was like, there's no way that he's never mentioned this to Ben. So
anyway, the your vote is that this is true.
Yeah, I don't think that he would stoop to just changing Bernie Madoff with Ivan Boas and
No, but he could have had some respectable businessman whose name nobody remembers, including Jordan, and replaced it with Boesky, not knowing that I was going to bring on Pearl, and then had the rest of the story is true, but the Boesky stuff is bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't buy it. I think he's telling the truth.
All right, Itamar votes true. Mateo, I'm not going to try to bring you on again. So tell me in the chat, are you voting true or false?
I also and also Pauline should tell us too.
Yeah, we got to. Pauline, I have a better chance of getting back on the screen. So Mateo is saying hum.
Faster, Mateo.
Pauline, what's your vote here?
I think he's telling the truth.
All right, Itamar votes true.
Oh, weird. Oh, that was.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Oh, sorry. That was the lag. Oh, I couldn't.
I'm watching on YouTube, and there's a bit of a delay.
So what's your vote? Is Jordan full of shit?
If Boesky is the only lie, does that make the whole thing a lie?
The whole thing's a lie if the Boesky thing's not true.
Okay.
It's the
Um,
key element of that. I mean, Jordan
okay.
got a lot of awards when he was a kid. He got a golden plate, sure. If he's making up the Boski shit, the whole thing is bullshit.
Then it's a lie.
All right, Pauline votes lie. Mateo also votes false, but only because it was Michael Junk Bond Man, not Boski. So Mateo's voting that you were actually sponsored by Michael Milken. Not sure I understand that vote. Gonna try to bring on Mateo, and then we're gonna bring Pearl back for her vote.
Oh yeah, we have to get Pearl.
Because Pearl actually knows something about this.
I say that this is true.
So Pearl
because
rejects my invitation to come back.
What a shock!
I
can't imagine why.
She has rejected me again. Okay, Pearl, in the chat, tell us whether you think this story is true or false.
You can also just type, Jordan is full of shit. I would personally love to see it.
All right, Mateo, justify your sense that Jordan has identified the wrong financial criminal.
Because it's totally plausible. This reminds me exactly of Shane's story from a couple weeks ago, and my first thought was that he had some totally uninteresting sponsor, but had a friend at the conference who was sponsored by Ivan Boski, and just stole that interesting part of the story. But I don't know. I think it's just super close to the truth, but I want him to be lying because it'd be a more interesting story if so.
All right, so Mateo goes with the Shane Harris. You changed the key detail somebody else had. Kate, you're voting true?
Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say why really quickly.
Yeah.
Jordan is, I think, I've had many opportunities now. Not as many as you, Ben, but not nearly. But I find Jordan to be very funny and very witty, but not super capable of bullshit. He seems like too affable, and generally in like a kind of like, I think he racked his brain all afternoon trying to think of the one possible boring-ish story, but with something interesting, a touch of interestingness about it.
The story was boring. That's where you're ending up.
You started it with a standardized test. Okay, so like, let's just.
If I thought they were boring, I wasn't so good at them.
And so no, I wasn't really actually boring. It was excellent. But I was like, there is these stories are interesting because there has to be a fabulous nature to it. The other thing is that like people do not typically there was that time that Mike Godwin lied to us about so maybe the fate. Anyways, I'm sticking with my answer. Truth. You're telling the truth.
All right. Kate's going with telling the truth. We now have Pearl's vote. So Pearl, from the person who was in the room when this happened, Pearl says, I'll vote that he's lying about Boski just because Jordan is so sneaky. So Pearl votes,
maybe I don't know you at all, Jordan.
Pearl votes the opposite of KK.
I take back every nice thing I've said.
All right.
Maybe you are the world's largest rodent.
No, that's true.
Mateo, however,
that's settled law.
Mateo, however, has switched his vote subtly. He says he actually thinks you're telling the truth, but he hopes you're lying because it would be a good lie. I'm going to reveal my own vote here, which is I think this story is true. And the reason I think it's true is that Pearl was in the room and verifies everything about the story except the Boski aspect of it. And B, I have this dim memory of Ivan Boski having been involved in your life somehow in one of these sent you to the math Olympiad or something.
Like
And
came
so-
up at like the lunch table, like in between carrot sticks or something.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to take Pearl's vote and add to it this dim memory I have that you have some weird ass connection to Ivan Boesky and that it was a matter of mirth. And I'm going to vote with KK. And by the way, the overwhelming vote of the audience, 64% of the audience votes that Jordan is telling the truth, which is a laudable approval rating, one to which the president can only aspire. Jordan, it's the big reveal time.
You ready?
Yeah?
No, I'm bullshitting you guys. Sorry.
I don't believe you.
Let me just say that I hope I'm interpreting this correctly because it sounds like I understood correctly that I am allowed to mix the truth with a lie.
Oh, yeah.
So let me
Yeah,
say
yeah.
what's truth and what's lie. And you can tell me, I think the amount of lie is such that
Okay,
I
we're
can-
going to...
because as we've amply demonstrated, I really did go to this banquet. And I also want to say that Ivan Boesky really was my sponsor for this thing. But the meeting and the attempt to enlist me in his insider trading schemes was that was fabricated. He wasn't even there. It was just a name on a page. And then later I read an article about this guy and I was like, oh, isn't it funny that name I remember?
Oh, so wait a minute. So this is a really mixed issue. So the fact that Boesky...
I told the story, that the story was that I had this weird meeting where I couldn't figure out what he was asking me and that he was trying to enlist me in his scheme. And that was completely invented.
Interesting. So I think we need the audience vote on this because we've never had a case like this before.
If you take the factual question to be, was Ivan Boesky my sponsor for this award? Then yes, he was. But my intent was for the punchline of the story to be this somewhat sus meeting, which in fact I made up. And my
so
and
the
my
whole thing about your
I had
concern
invented.
Invented.
I never met him.
But the fact
never
that
met
Boesky was your sponsor was true.
And that's why I was scared when Pearl came on, because she would probably know that there was no meeting with the sponsor and this didn't happen.
Interesting.
I
So
hope
that's
this is worth it.
So
Like,
this
I
is
thought I was dead. I thought I was dead when Pearl
so
came
Pearl
on.
once again nails it. There's a lie because Jordan is so sneaky. Once again, the lesson is listen to Pearl Tsai Reneker because she's a very perceptive cat.
But I also want you guys to see, because the rest of the story was true. So here's 13-year-old me.
Man, look at
and my
that
boy, Jimmy
picture
Carter.
of little
Dude, I'm not
Jordan.
wearing a tux. I lied about something else. Boy, did I
You weren't
remember
wearing a tux at all.
I'm visibly
That
not
I-
wearing a tux. Okay, so I was just wrong. Sorry. So I guess that was also a lie. Is that
Okay,
typically
so
lie
the
territory?
audience
Were you
overwhelmingly...
were you also part of Iran Contra? Like, what the hell, Jordan? What weren't you? What weren't you in on?
Look at this face. Look at that little face. Can you believe it? Okay.
The audience overwhelmingly agrees with you that you were lying, and
Let's count the
therefore-
lies. No tux.
there was no
No
tux.
tux.
No Ivan.
Well, no Ivan present.
No Ivan present. No Ivan meeting.
For
no
all
Ivan.
we know, there was no chicken.
That's okay, but I did not commit to that. It says, to Jordan, congratulations and warmest regards, Jimmy Carter. Now, is this the Jimmy Carter auto pen? I have no real way of I don't remember if he signed it on the spot or if
Jimmy
If my
Carter
dad
is
took-
now a very small
No, he
human
couldn't have.
living
My dad
in an
nailed his
armchair
office for
next to
photo.
his wife's armchair. I have the New York Times has proven this to me. There's photographic evidence. So
yes, I agree with what Frank says. I think it would be implausible that Boesky would actually spend a night doing this. Then again, Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter did it. So I don't
Yeah.
really understand the whole inner economy of how it happens that these big shot people would show up and do this for a night. Maybe
but
you
I
guys have a
also
different
remember
meaning.
something like this
I want to know the
happening.
back end.
But this, you were a legitimate math prodigy. I just took SATs in 4th grade and then got sent to special camps and stuff. But they're where they did it's X-Men, but less interesting. But I am actually kind of curious. Like,
By the way, the is what X-Men is secretly about. There's an entire world of people who write about the entire
this
X-Men
entire
medical
kind of like
condition.
sub industry of like kind of calling out gifted children. Yeah, like and like things
I
like
want to
that.
say Brooks Robinson was really physically present. That was real.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, the last in the chat.
Well, I think Jordan has vaguely cheated in this by telling a story that is a mixed, but cheated in the excellent way that you are supposed to cheat in this, which is to say, changing the rules to one's liking. And I just want
to tell a story that was fabricated start to finish and had no contact with me. I thought you were supposed to add some truth.
No, you are. This is you did it exactly right. This is great.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, no, this was exactly
really
right.
good.
And I just want to say kudos to Pearl, who is the only one, and Mateo kind of nailed it too. You know, who figured out that there was, while validating everything that she could remember in the story, nonetheless smelled a rat.
No, the capybara.
All right. Smelled a capybara.
But I do want to say in my defense, because I don't want everybody to go home being like, that sneaky son of a bitch. Because I was like, I discussed this with Tanya this afternoon, and I was like, obviously I want to tell a true story, but I can't think of anything that would be funny and punchy. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe because it makes me so uncomfortable to like lie in public, I was like, maybe I'll just go for it and do something I'm uncomfortable with, which I would not ordinarily do, and see what happens. So I want to slightly try to endorse Kate's good opinion of me.
Yeah, good luck.
I do think that this was an uncharacteristic afternoon for me, and I wanted to see if I could do it. It was an interesting project being put into this position.
Pauline also nailed it.
Yes,
Pauline,
and now
Pauline
I know I
like
can.
sneaky little capybara.
Open season, man.
Yeah.
It's open season. Basically, from now on.
All right.
I just want to say that I accept everything, every denomination above $20, and that you can get my address from Ben. So that is a good way to make it up to me. And if you break them into small enough numbers, I heard you can get around securities fraud and taxes.
We are gonna leave it there. Jordan Ellenberg, you're a great American, a terrific liar, and a terrible human being. I never liked you. You know,
now I kind of get the joke about largest rodent. Like,
yeah. Although that is something he named himself.
I know. It's still endearing. We're gonna get your face on a T-shirt so that Ben can wear it and be like, it'll be like his, like it'll like accompany his guinea pig shirt.
We are gonna be back tomorrow. Do we have a guest tomorrow, or is it cheese night?
It's cheese night, but Scott and I are going to be cooking. We're going to be counter cooking. We're going to be making Christmas cookies.
All right, we're going to be making Christmas cookies tomorrow, and that'll be 23 hours and 1 minute from now. And until then, Kate?
We don't have fun anymore. But we do have
land the plane, Kate.
TI-89s. I don't know. I really...
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
We will see you tomorrow, people.
Jordan knows what I meant. Sorry.
Thank you, Jordan.
I literally have sitting on my desk. I'm sorry.
I'm a Hewlett Packard guy. I don't